Okay. Okay, so last time we almost finished the game. Like the game is basically done. And so the next step is just to slightly polish it and then get it on the internet. Yeah, so I was thinking a bit about a couple of things. The first is that I want to slightly edit like the final quote to add quotation marks around it. I feel like in most cases that people kind of like see quotations that actually there still is some kind of like quotation mark around it. So I wanted to do that, and then yeah, otherwise we'll go back onto each page that we haven't looked at in quite a while, and then get stuff working on that. Yeah, so I still just want to confirm that like the a 3x3 is like the correct level of difficulty. Yeah, I feel that the game is too complicated when the game takes like too long to solve in the 4x4 case, and yeah, I want to fix that. Okay, so let's say we do anyway, yeah, I know what to do in my head, so let's just do it. So the first thing is we want to add quotation marks to Andrew Kelly's quote when GIMP actually loads. What? But it's been modified using other tools, would discard these modifications. What? Can I not like, what on earth does this mean? Okay, like that's all I wanted to do. So let's export this again. Send this to the assets. Export everything. It's a really like small change, but I think it makes difference. Let's convert this magic K space quote Kelly to quote dot QI. It's done. So now if we go into if we change the grid dimension to say 2, and then launch the game again, or rather recompile and launch the game. Okay, the game launched in a solved state, and then we end up with that animation. This probably I am like wondering if it's worthwhile. If it's worthwhile to add some check-in. If it's worthwhile to add a check that after the shuffling happens, the game isn't already solved. I highly suspect that when the grid dimension is 3 or larger, this will basically never happen, and it's like only in this 2x2 case that sometimes it will happen. But kind of weird that it's not. it's not like shuffling enough. Why is this happening? Really? I don't know. I don't believe that like. This is concerning. No. Let's say we do the number of random shuffles to 1. Okay. Yeah. Great. Okay. So yeah, kind of bizarre that. Apparently when done like 100 times, 100 does seem a bit excessive. Like 10 feels alright. Oh, hang on, but we since we've only got 2 shuffles, this again runs into like the. Well, actually. I mean, 2 to the 10 is basically 1,000, so I think there's like a 1 in 1,000 chance that there'll be a repeat. I think it's okay. But yeah, it's so weird that. Okay, so now that's done, it's now time to just. Oh yeah, hey Uranium Cat. So like an update from the last time. The reason why I was the reason why it was really difficult to solve the puzzle I was doing a couple nights ago is because that it was impossible. So if you do a random shuffle with 50% of the time, the starting configuration is impossible to resolve, no matter how many moves are made. Oh yeah, happy like the quote. And so I had to completely come up with a different system for shuffling all of the tiles so that the grid actually can be solved. So the first thing I did was just to like try and just randomly do a bunch of moves from the starting configuration, kind of suspecting in my mind that this theorem from probability that says that if you're doing like a coin flip, if you move left and right when you like flip a coin, you'll basically like always stay near the origin for like the most of the time. And in fact, some version of this exists for 2 dimensions. So then I thought, okay, this like grid tile game is like almost kind of like that. It's similar enough that probably if I like randomly move the tiles, it really won't get that messed up. And this was basically confirmed to be the case after doing like a million random moves. Very often, like the puzzle wasn't really that shuffled at all, and so it was fun to like verify that. Yeah, so I ended up just manually just shuffling it myself so that it seemed to be like randomly shuffled, and then we just do this a couple of times, and that's the end. But yeah, I did confirm that it wasn't possible to solve, and in fact there was actually a cartoon on the Wikipedia page. Like this was a very very well known thing. Like it's been well known for more than 100 years. Right, this person, yeah, trying to solve this puzzle where everything is in the correct except this final row where the numbers should be 13, 14, 15, and instead they're swapped around. This was basically the situation I ran into, but it's impossible. So, and it was interesting that like historically someone was like offering like money for this to be solved in 2023, or I mean it's like about yeah, like a decent amount of money kind of back then, but yeah, it had already been like proved a decade earlier that it was impossible. Yeah, I mean, life is so much of life is cycles in repeat. History is just something that's already happened, or you're just learning something that people already knew. Except maybe when it comes to new programming languages. Anyway, they haven't been around that long. So yeah, so now I kind of want to just read through all of this code and then yeah, just clean it up. Stuff will be all over the place. There'll be lots of like commented stuff that doesn't need to be here. We'll clean it up and then we'll get the game on itch, and then we'll be done. Okay, so let's just begin with the top. This is a sliding puzzle game. Solving the game should only take a couple of minutes. Solving the game typically takes less than 10 minutes. Okay. Inputting the project requires the compiler version to be currently just say a recent 0.14 dev. Actually, why can't we? To be a recent dev version. Such as yeah, Uranicat says, yeah, I would really random shuffle by starting initial position, but never think about shuffles coming back to its original position. Yeah, I think part of it has to do with that, like a lot of the moves on when it's on the border aren't actually going to do anything, and then a lot of the moves are reversible. So say that like you weren't on the border, but you do a move and then the gap's suddenly on the border. You've now like got a like 1 in 3 chance for just like reversing that move, and then I think, and in general you'd have this like 1 in a quarter chance of reversing the move, and then I think yeah, I don't study probability. This theorem that about like the stuff coming back is like a really deep theorem, but it would be cool to understand it one day though. Yeah. Building the project requires the compiler version such as I feel like maybe this is wrong. What is this version? Okay, like yeah, the actual version 14 is going to be released in a couple of days, and so I'll likely come back and just like update not just this project but every project to deal with so that it's compatible with 0.14. But for the moment, ship it as it is. Just to make this slightly less, smaller. Libraries. maybe we should indent this. Okay, that's cleaned up. This should probably be moved into some kind of dependency. I also feel like we should rename deps to, we should just spell out what it is, dependencies. This would require going into the build.zig.zon file and changing it basically changing all occurrences of deps here to dependencies. Okay, uranium cat says there is actually algorithms to determine if a slide puzzle is solvable or not. So maybe after random shuffle, an algorithm could check if it's solvable or not. Yeah, it doesn't surprise me that that's the case. Yeah, I'm glad that there are some. I kind of want to try and figure these out on my own though. Like, I think this is actually quite, like, knowing there already exists a field of scholarship, and from what I saw, extensive, you know, suggests that there's something inherently pretty interesting about it. Yeah, as an exercise, I do want to try and first prove that like half of any of the given configurations will be impossible to solve. And then maybe second to that, then presumably like you can do that with a yeah, with some algorithm. But yeah, but we'll see if like this thing was proved in the 1800s, and so this was just as like group theory was being developed, and so the kind of machinery we have today is like the mathematical ideas we have today are like way more powerful than existed back then, and so there may actually be a really nice, concise way of proving it today. Something I'll probably look into. Okay, so we also want to move this like qoi.zig into into one of the dependencies. Is it worth putting it in its own folder? I don't think so. I think we'll just leave it in that. Let's just label this as dependencies.qi.zig. I keep on using like standard debug print for a bunch of things. I know there's like a proper way of doing this in Zig. If you actually want to like write out standard error, I kind of wonder if it's worthwhile doing this. I guess it's worth a look. Zig standard error out. Okay, how are they doing it in here? Okay, standard get I. Get if we, let's do a search of standard error just in the source. This will quickly bring up examples. Got some in JSON. Okay, let's check out what's happening in JSON dynamic. Purely to check what's happening. JSON. JSON dynamic. Purely to see what's happening here. What's this stringify doing? Maybe we just look at standard.io, get standard error. Okay. So why is this struct just a handle? Okay, yeah, we just want like a simple example. Can we really use standard out.print? No, it's just using debug print again. Okay, yeah, this is something I've ignored for quite a while. It's really time I learnt it. Okay, so maybe debug.z is a better place to look. And what was it, line 2713? Okay, so it looks as though it is as simple as just get standard error.writer and then printing to it, and then do we need to like, is that it? We don't need to release it or anything? Okay, let's create a really simple program and test this out. So go back to main, standard error test.zig. Yeah, so let's say standard is just import standard for a public function main. We may need to add like an error here, but we'll see. Okay, so declare standard error to be this. This will need to be standard.io. Just print out really any of these. That will do. And then I think that's just what we want to try. So we can just say testing a standard error. We can just say like 42 here. Okay. Let's try standard error.test. Error union is ignored. Consider using try. Okay, we did need to use a try. Emacs, what are you doing? Test.zig. Oh, it's debug.zig. So already I'm kind of confused that in this switch statement there's like no tries being used. But in either case, we can just look at standard error.print. Well, there's going to be so many print functions. Maybe it is in io.writer. Or just io. Okay. So let's just catch this as unreachable. Okay, this seems to work. So let's start using this instead of the standard debug print in our main. So we want to try and get rid of dprint if possible. So here's one case where we're checking the shader is actually compiled and the vertex shader failed. We want to print this stuff out. So let's declare a standard error at the very top. Should it be like standard ERR or just standard error? Okay, without capitalization seems to be the thing to do. And then here we want to standard error print. Oh, it's just existing. But now we want to catch this as unreachable. Then actually let's just see if that alone is. I wanted to just test the behavior and see what happens with well, first of all, make sure this is still compatible with like the version 14 of the compiler. Okay, and then say we modify the vertex shader so that one of them clearly fails. Let's say in the background shader we say something like const blah question marks. Then yeah, means you get a fail and okay, stuff does get printed out. Well, no. Wait, the standard error should be following down over here. Okay, we're not actually. It's just doing this. Okay. I mean, it's just doing this. Okay. All right. That's working. Yeah. Actually, that's not a. I think in a similar way, if we are just printing that these vertex shaders compilations have been successful, like it is a debug, but I still feel like debug print isn't the right thing to do. Maybe we do just want to do like standard out. Yeah, I think if given the choice between printing a debug message, even though it's meant to be formal between standard and debug, we should actually stay with debug. Okay. Okay, we won't actually be removing this then, but I don't think there's any need to alias this anymore. Let's just totally be clear what it's doing. Okay. Oops, this one here is an error though. Okay. Oh. All right, we need to change the dodgy shader. Fragment background. Okay. So at least that is cleared up. Where were we? Um, constant aliases. We should describe more what this is. You see a famous photo in the public domain. So actually, who took this again? Like it's not. I don't just want to say like NASA made it. Like an astronaut did take this. Okay, yeah. So crew of the Apollo 17, but who exactly? Or maybe it's just. Maybe we'll just add it by the Apollo 17 crew. And is in the public domain and available from. Yeah. Okay. We should probably add in from Andrew's blog when Andrew published it, which was October 17th, 2023. Okay. Like originally I was just like embedding both of these and then we'd do the comp time stuff, but I think it makes more sense to group it up like this. Yeah, this reads better for me. Maybe even having it here. Yeah, this, I'm happier with it like this. Okay, I'm happy with these shaders. The shader names, constants. How much should we clear these up? I think these are fine. Except for maybe this debug color. I feel like the order of these should be changed as well. Just like the really simple ones to define at the beginning, and then should probably align these as well. Okay. What about the order of these? Debug color should be first, and then this background is a bit deceptive. Because it's not really the background. This is like the background outside of, if like the window is re-stretched, this is like the other background. Why don't we call it resize background? Then we've got the grid background, then the tile border. The compiler will tell us like what the to do background shape, change time. This name isn't like immediately telling me what it is, so we should probably rename it then. What happens? Okay, now I know what it is. So maybe this should be called like shader, background shader shape change time. Okay, how about this stuff? Tile border width, spacing, grid border width. Oh, are we even using the grid border width anymore? No, we can get rid of that. It feels like slightly weird to have like tile width tile border width and then tile spacing. Maybe it's better to call it like tile spacing width. But even width is like, is perhaps incorrect. Like we're using this for both the tile width and the height. But it kind of is like the thinness. So maybe like tile border thickness is better, or tile spacing. I'm perhaps overthinking this. I think I am. This is alright. We'll move on. Center. Yeah, let's see. We should have a comment that says that it's assumed the dimensions won't be changed somewhere. We probably have it here. No, it is assumed that the dimensions that the window dimensions of the game will not change. We have the calculation for the grid width. Can we simplify that? I think that's all right. I feel like type aliases should be higher. Significantly higher. Like before we do anything with images. Do we really use this grid coordinate anywhere? It's only in like find empty tile. And it's only being used locally as well. I think we can get rid of this. Okay, so how do we want to get rid of this? Let's just call it empty tile plus x is this thing, and then empty tile plus y is that thing, and then we just do that. And I think that's it. Okay, let's try compiling this. See what happens. Background shape change time. What did we change this to? This was background shader shape change time. Okay. Game still working. Presumably. Okay, great. So now we can get rid of all of this. I say all of this, it's just a single struct. Okay, globals. Yeah, we've got the game, or rather the game state. That doesn't feel correct. Maybe just maybe we'll leave it as game. Well, the entire thing is the game. Maybe game status. The game state does feel better, but it's like the game state here is like the stuff internal to the logic of the game, like not the stuff that the program's simulating. Like we're not doing. I don't mean by this phrase like timing and stuff. Maybe just game logic. Yes, we've got window, graphics globals, shaders. Grid structure. Okay, that doesn't hold anymore. This is a constant anyway. This shouldn't be here. Maybe this should just be called grid as well. Or maybe this is convention. Grid is per row, left to right, top to bottom. Oh, yeah, we should say like array layout. The array layout. The left to right array layout represents the grid from represents the grid per row from left to right, top to bottom. Okay, and then back in the constants, we needed to set the tile number there. Okay. Well, maybe this is better to be within the grid geometry, maybe. What does the tile number get used in? That's fine. Keep it there. So here's another like non-constant, but it's it's kind of associated with that, so I guess it's fine. Okay, then this is our custom XOR shift PRNG. Where's our struct for this? I must have skipped past it. Oh, it's up here. Guess that's all right. Timing, stuff is in nanosecond, sure. I wonder if this should be aligned. Yeah, this should. This note should probably be down here. Okay, animations. Ooh, do I want to change any of these? I don't think so. Like it looked. Like I don't have any current problems with the timing. Animating tile direction and start timestamp. I feel like that's the order to do things in, maybe. But then again, maybe this timestamp should be back in like the 1 timestamp. Okay, how many timestamps are there? Should we have it in here? I feel like it should. I feel like it should be in here. Taiwan quote, sure. Like all of these are timing, but that's fine. Okay, keyboard. Put in here. Yeah, don't need to change this at all. Geometry. This is fine. The number here we can probably reduce. So so this is saying how many vertices are we going to be pushing to the GPU when we draw this thing. So I don't think it would be wise to make this small enough for just the 3x3 case, because I think people are going to try expanding it. This said, we don't, when we make the WASM, we don't want like a huge portion of the WASM memory to just be like empty stuff that's never going to be used, because this is 1000. So let's say we're doing let's say that the largest grid someone does is 6x6. This is basically all of the geometry we need to draw. For every tile, we're drawing both the border rectangle and the center one, which is 4 triangles, and then right, and then just for each triangle we're drawing 3. So we could actually make this 500, and we would still be okay in a lot of cases. Yeah, like of course that will work. And then if we change this to grid dimension to be 6, for example. Okay, yeah, stuff is, right, there's another problem now, which is that our the shuffle's not okay, but this is pushing it. The game isn't meant to be that big. Okay, we should probably add a note to it. Note the size of the vertex buffer assumes the game will not be larger than, will not have a grid larger than 6 by 6. Okay. And then like, at least this way we've like halved the, maybe we can go a bit earlier. Okay, say we had 5 by 5. I think 500 is okay. Yeah, and actually, so how much memory would this take up anyway? So each color texture vertex is, why am I using this? Oh, it's fine. We can use this calculator. So each of these is 8 floats, and each of these floats is taking up 4 bytes. So, okay, I guess it is 16 kilobytes. I think 16 kilobytes is fine. How large are the cache sizes again? We should probably look up existing stuff. So say someone's playing this on a laptop. A typical L1 cache size on 2024 laptop. Yeah, these will vary a lot. Okay, let's just say someone has the framework 13 laptop. It's gonna like, it's gonna depend on the processes. This is a rabbit hole. 500 is enough. We can move on. Like I'm almost certain that like maybe 16 kilobytes isn't in like the L1 cache. It's certainly in the L2 cache. So now let's say, okay, we've got here pos represents the center of the rectangle. Below, or rather like, the pos field represents the center of the rectangle. If the only time we construct a rectangle is with this, then you could even rename the W and H to be width and the height. Okay, I think we can do this. Like, this stuff is probably obvious, but we can at least be a bit more explicit this way. Should we? We've got geometry here. This is more like GPU structs, but maybe it's all right. I feel like we should have some kind of like notice here that like the main function begins. Maybe we just do that with spacing. Like 3 spaces. Okay, start the stopwatch, get the program start timestamp. Set up the grid, decompress the images. Knit the stuff, do OpenGL, compile the shaders, set up the buffers. So that's fine. Okay, so now we've got our init grid. Randomly applying grid moves will not in general take a grid that sufficiently make or like create. That is sufficiently shuffled. See for example, well, search, we apply a small number of pre-generated shuffles that make the grid appear randomly shuffled. Some pre-recorded tile shuffles. Put them in there, and then why do we call this random shuffle 1? I think shuffle is just as clear. Shuffle 1, shuffle 2. Shuffles is this shuffle and this one. Let's replace random with nothing. This is why I was doing it manually. I knew that stuff would happen. Number of shuffles. If we're calling the shuffle 1, there's no need for the underscore anymore. Oh, why is it? This isn't really random direction. It's more like a move direction. Move. Like move direction. That's a little bit vague. Move direction. Move direction. Let's see. This is still compiling. 226. Why didn't we save the position? Declared identifier W. Right. This is just width equals width, height equals height. No field named width in main.rectangle. Really? I could have sworn I updated that. Oh. Or maybe not. No field name W in main.rectangle. Oh, okay, this is where... I was going to say this is where we'll start to see the consequences of not giving the simple names, but I think it would be okay. Okay. Otherwise, it's fine. Let's like add these. Oh wow. Okay, is Git gonna be smart enough to realize stuff has moved? And also in the dependencies, in the assets, if we want to remove the PNG space quote and the blue marble JPEG. Okay, it has recognized that most stuff has just been renamed. Oh, we can get rid of this standard in.test. Okay, git restore staged everything. So let's remove standard arrow.test. Now we'll add everything. started cleaning up code for upload to edge.io. Okay, let's just push it to the cloud as it is, and then continue with the edits. Okay, decompress QI images. Yeah, that's fine. Init OpenGL. I feel like it's obvious that we're doing OpenGL. No need for that. Okay. Process input. I guess these lines too long. I guess we have no choice about it. Anyway. I feel like a lot of this can change. Some of this is unnecessary. So we're computing all of these constants, and then which are all booleans, and then we're then setting like is down and stuff to those. But couldn't we just set these directly? Can we not say keydown.w is equal to this thing? Especially if we're setting it to be, we're setting all of them to be false to begin with. Yeah, I think like half of this can just be deleted. I think we just want to say, we just want to be setting the key down W equal to this result. Yeah, so actually, yeah, let's just how are we gonna like copy this? This is the important stuff. Let's just save a version of that, and then we just want to say over here, what is it? Key down dot W is equal to this thing. Key down dot A is equal to that. This is S. That's D. And then key down dot up arrow. Okay, I think we can just set it all to that. And I think that is it. And I guess while we're at it, we should just align. Come on, Max. No, it's this keyboard. This keyboard is to blame. Anyway, let's. Probably would have been good to compile this before formatting all of that. I know something's wrong. The keys are not working. That's meant to be down. And this is meant to be right. Great, okay. Work in. Delete. And technically speaking, this isn't even needed now. Resetting this. Right, like sometimes I just get queasy about not resetting that, but it's okay. Okay, and then updating the state. Okay, so we're just setting we're just setting the tile movement here. Is there some way to do this with the switch statement instead? I guess it's fine. Set animation if there's a key press. Check if animation is over, otherwise calculate timestamp. So see if it is, we're setting the animation just to be 0, no more animating tile, set the fraction to be 0. Otherwise, calculate that. Again, I almost feel weird this isn't being clamped in some way, but it kind of has to work. I feel like this should be in the grid update function, this comment. And we're not really calculating it if it changes. Kind of okay, all of this stuff can just be deleted. I feel like this stuff should be above all of the. This should be between that and render. Let's move this back to render. Or in between the two. Okay, and then, so where were we? Try the move, do the update. Check if the puzzle is solved. Check if the puzzle is solved if, comma, not already run. Check if the puzzle is solved if not already won. If it is one, reduce. If it is, save the timestamp. If it is one, do the fraction calculation. I feel like this could be modified. Maybe not. Okay, the most important logic function. Calculate the grid changing direction. How are we doing this? I feel like having find tile index in here is not helpful. If we're only calling it a couple of times. If we're only calling it twice. We'll let it be. Okay, then get the. Make sure it's not null. Can we not just unwrap it like that? Oh no, we are kind of incasting it. Okay, since we are sending it from like a U size, okay. Do those things. It's so good that we factored this out. There was so much repetition before. in some way having no grid update and all of these like double negatives appearing is slightly annoying me, but I think we've already thought about this, and it's like more for whatever reason calling it grid update and making these not equals is like harder to think about. So we'll just keep it in here. We can at least align this stuff. What do we do? We want to align on the equals. Is there any point aligning this? I kind of think there's not, actually. Okay, can still compile, right? Okay, is it worth saving it so far? Continued proofreading, simplifying code. Okay, now we're on to, oh no, we're barely halfway through. This part always takes so much time, but it's like, I think it's worth it. It's like I mean, I actually, especially for this project, since we're going to be porting this to the web and using this as, and porting it to a really niche operating system. And so, we'll continue to push through it, but my goodness, this will take time. Okay. Render. We're resetting the vertical fx index to be 0. I kind of don't like that. I feel like it should just be set to 0 before we draw anything. But then we should just be setting it to 0 at the beginning instead of at the end. Reset the vertex buffer. Okay. If the clear color is here, why did we ever need this background color? Yeah, do we ever use this resize background? Oh, we don't. I guess I did rename that background, but maybe... Yeah, I think we can get rid of this. If we're just setting the color here based on Set the background, which appears during a window resize, which is assumed not to happen, to be a dark gray. Uh-oh. Okay, something... Okay, that was really bad. What just happened? Why is nothing appearing now? Oh, it's because of this. Okay. We really do need this. Oops. Well, actually, I feel like this should be moved to a different place altogether. When we do the draw grid geometry or compute grid geometry, I think this is where we should be setting it to 0. Reset the vertex buffer. Vertex buffer index is equal to 0. I was like, there's one thing it could be, and that was this defer that apparently we didn't need to do. Yeah, it's otherwise working. Great. So if this is the case, we can actually remove this dark gray color from these constants. Good, even more code being simplified. Actually, how much like progress have we made? It used to be like 900 and like 80 before. Okay, we may actually get it lower than 900 lines of code. We'll see. We'll see what happens by the end. Going to the background pattern. Okay, LP value. Speaking of lines we can get rid of. Okay, so this isn't a general uniform, so maybe calculate background. Enter the background pattern. calculate background shader. This kind of stuff should happen before I think before this. Calculate background shader uniforms. And then we want to render it. Okay, and then I reckon this stuff we should move to, we should even move above the GL clear stuff as well. I feel like as much as possible stuff should be separated out with like Zig stuff and then just GL core after GL core. Because you also do this like quote stuff as well. But that we kind of need to do after it. All right. Keep it in like this. Enter the grid and tiles. I'm a bit thirsty. Marble texture. I'll go back to this. Yeah, push the data. Yeah, we're resetting the vertex buffer anyway when we draw the quote. Note, the game is assumed, the game window is assumed to have dimensions. as such, which informs the values below. Okay, pushing the data, trying that. Push if the data is a bit vague. Push the quote, triangles. We could probably remove a bunch of these comments. Okay. Ooh, now we're on to some calculation, some code that could do with a cleanup. Computing the grid geometry. May as well add it what we've done. Slightly tidied render a bit. Okay. $55% of the way to go. So much code to read. Oh, okay, let's. A huge bunch of this we can delete anyway. Okay. So now instead of 55% to go, we're 57% of the way there. Lambda. Why is this is a bit general. Maybe background grid rectangle is better. Background grid rectangle. Grid tile rectangles, sure. Top left tile plus X is this thing. Do we want to edit that at all? That's still readable. And then yeah, the y plus is the same as the x. I'm not seeing how to that there's really any changes to be made here. Okay. Drawing the background, sure. Tile border rect width. Let's draw these tiles. Let's see if it's automatic, skip it. Otherwise, set it to the rectangle. Construct the border one from the position and lengths above. Like we simplified this the other day, and I wonder if it could do with another round of simplification. Maybe it's fine. Having to like, no. I think if anyone reading through this, you want to just like track how the top left is changing, and having to like jump all of this stuff is confusing. Let's just separate. I feel like these should be separated. Outer. Seems to be a bit better. They're having to like see splat 3, then go, what is that, and look up above. It's not great. We'll just rename them. Oh, that's the only time that's happening. Okay, and finally, grid width. These calculations are tedious but important. Okay, so now we have, now what have we got? Get the inner, convert it to the STs, do the outer, normalize it. Again, I'm kind of torn again with the layout. I feel like the STs are just doing like the same thing every time, and so we should actually just visually indicate that in the code by just having the same thing clearly happening each time. Yeah, I think this is so much better to read than what was before. Yeah, it's so obvious that the last step is just everything's being normalized. Yeah, I'm happy with this. Good thing we simplified this. Yeah, this will make like the similar calculations for the Serenum if we do something similar there. Oh, that much easier. We probably will need to do something different there, at least for the web. Yeah, easier. Okay, draw the animating tile if non-zero. Oh, this is like, isn't this a copy pasta? Oh, there kind of is. I feel like it's still worthwhile to put some splats in here. Okay, so we want to do grid width. Oh, hang on. If we've already done the grid width splat above, then we don't need to calculate it again. Which scope is it in? Oh no, we kind of do. But we can just factor this stuff out. Okay, so then, so down here we want to say top left st is equal to vec2 formed out of the x and the y. And then, like I think last time I came to the conclusion it was better not to like splat this, but maybe it actually is. Okay, we'll leave it as it is, but this stuff will simplify. So we want to call this inner and outer, I think. Wait, what on earth is going on? So we're calculating like from the animation offset where the animating tile rect is, and then what? Yeah, we do both the border rect and the animating tile rect. So all of this calculation is just to calculate the bottom left the top left st and the bottom right st. So right, we don't need to actually calculate it for the other one because it's never gonna play. Okay, so we can still call this TL inner. And then we have TLST is equal to TL inner divided by the grid width splat. And then likewise we have the bottom right inner, which is equal to TL inner plus the tile width splat, and then the bottom right ST, which is equal to the bottom right inner divided by the grid width splat. Likewise, let's just factor out the splat so that clearly so that it's clear what's happening there. And then okay, and then we want to replace these coordinates with top left ST and the bottom right ST. For the sake of consistency, we will include that there, but we should also really draw them both at the same time. It's clear what's going on. Yeah, a partial copy from above. Okay, let's again check that it's still working. Great. Okay, that a lot of simplification happened, but I think that was the hardest part to simplify. Continued simplifying. Isn't simplifying code. 2/3 done. Get that on the internet, on the cloud. We need less than 70% left, 30% left. Oh, and we have gone below 900, so we've probably got rid of more than 100 lines of code, which is good. A 10% reduction in any code base is a positive, instead of the usual expansion by 100%. Very often happens over time. Okay, draw color texture rectangle. We might want to add in a comment describing what this one does. Figure out the data, the GPU data, figure out and store the GPU data that will draw a rectangle interpolating a solid or a single specified color and a texture, and and a portion of a texture. Compute the coordinates of the corners of the rectangle, or rather compute the rectangle corner coordinates. That's like almost a tongue twister. This can probably be we can do better than this. Why don't we say RGBA F32 is equal to a vector for F32 float from int color, and then we just define each of these to be it's like the coordinates of these. We could split it with 255 and divide it again, but it's actually maybe that is the way to go. Not sure that this will actually result in any more efficient instructions, but in the very least, it's maybe easier to read. There's not so much like gigantic splat stuff happening. Again, maybe. Well, actually, if we have a vector for f32 in here, we may as well just have a vec4, a vec2, and a vec4. This will make it easier to read. And yeah, compute the coordinates of these textures. Then and these are just giving them aliases. I feel like these should be aligned. Why are we still calling this the color buffer? The vertex buffer with the data. And then increase it. Okay. Yeah, compile the shaders is straightforward. Why is this after the render? I feel like it should happen earlier on. Like this isn't an init thing, so if anything this should happen between init OpenGL and the processing of things. And likewise for setup array buffers. Okay. Why are these not aligned? Okay, and then when we are compiling these things, linking them. Sure. Okay. Okay, and then for the setup array buffers, yeah, no. This assumes the window dimensions are 1000 by 1000. Setup color texture VAO VBO. Oh, there's going to be so many calls when we translate this to the web. So many JavaScript calls. But we will be we'll be calling all of them from within the WASM. Like, is there a way to just like massively say to OpenGL, just like enable everything from 1 through to 3 in a single call? Enable vertex attribute. Does it really just, does it only ever take a... Yeah, I guess you need to do it one at a time. Hey, blue marble stuff. Okay. We already simplified process input. Oh, so I guess that's that stuff done. Oh, 96% of the way there. Oh yeah. Nearly cleaned up all the code. Okay, for find tile index. Yeah, it's just like a trivial thing. Timestamp delta is fine. Okay. Great. Let's try one more time. Okay. That was quite the code review. Okay. Yeah, finished. Yeah, finished cleaning up code. Okay. So now we want to do, well, okay, so we finished up at least that part of the code, but we should probably look at the build.zig file and see if anything in here needs to be changed. The indentation was a bit weird, but other than that, seems to be fine. And then the build.zig.zon, we have it to do here. But before any of that, let's just do a fresh compile of the project. How is it already like a third of a gig? Zig current, well, remove everything from the Zig cache, remove everything from Zig out, and then do a Zig current build run. Okay. It's working. So yeah, sliding version, let's make this 1.0. Got paths to these things. Okay, so we should put in paths to everything in the project here. Okay, so we have clearly the build.zig and build.zon. We want the everything can. What's like the best order? Maybe just main.zig. The build file for that. The readme. The license.md. We need the dependencies. But even before that. Oh, there's a couple of things we can already clean up. So we can remove this photo link. I think we did copy it into main, right? Wikimedia, yeah. So git remove photo link. We could also get rid of this polka dots basic.gsl, I think. I don't think we'll... I mean, this is simple enough that I could just... we can just like copy off like the more complicated fragment shader and simplify it when necessary, I think. Yeah, I don't see a great need in remembering that. Git remove talk.spacing. We do want this preview.get. Do we want to add in like a git ignore, the same git ignore? I don't think we actually need to add that in there. Other people might want to do things. So likewise, we can remove this disk squared troll. I guess we never really added that to begin with, so it's fine if it's not. Doesn't have to be in here, but we don't also need to just delete it. But otherwise, we're adding in assets, the shaders, the dependencies, and is that it? I think so. Oh, it's not license.md, it's just license. Yeah, I think that's it. Okay, let's clear out stuff. Okay, so let's remove the standard out test arrow.zig, this colors.zig artifact, and well, let's again just make sure it builds. Zig current build one. Okay. Like I don't think adding in like the paths actually do anything at this stage to the build file. I cleaned up project directory, added files, folders to build.zig.zone. Okay, it would be good to just do like a spelling check of main. Let's do that. So we want to do main. It's like, yeah, it's again like the moment when like the project's working, you've only done like at most 60% of the work. Like all of this stuff is coming later, and there's nothing really to do with. It's not like the fun part of the project, but it helps with longevity, and it helps with time down the line. Okay, calling this pos instead of center is a bit silly. That is, we may as well just call it center. Let's edit that. This one's almost solved already. That was easy. Okay. Oops, we should spell sufficiently correctly. I could have sworn, how many times am I adding shader? So silly. Okay. Okay. Spell check. Okay. Okay, so I think, yeah. Okay, so now we should check out this like release feature. Never done this before. Let's try this. It's common practice to prefix your version name. Maybe it's easy just to create like a new commit where we like git tags is like an entire. I desperately need to refresh a course on these like tags in Git. what should we do? Let's see. The thing is, I'm slightly hungry, and it's like the afternoon. What is there left to do? We need to like figure out this whole. We have to do like this GitHub admin of like going through and like creating a new release tag. I don't want to like I would much rather I click this button and there's something I can just select immediately. In order to do that, I'll have to manually attach like a tag to this, whole bunch of stuff. Hopefully the rest of this goes without a hiccup. Who knows? Then this is even before going onto itch.io, and this is Dragon's FIFA is a dope game. I would recommend this. I have played it. It's good. Before we like create another page that contains the stuff to download and write all of these install instructions and stuff, I kind of feel there's at least another 2 hours of work to even get this online. I guess I underestimated the amount of time it would take to do like the code review basically. What do we want to do? Kind of annoyed as well that there's just like massive, like most of this page is blank. I feel like we should actually get some like tile thing going. There aren't any releases yet. Yeah, I know. Okay, so I think I'm actually we'll end the stream and then gonna have lunch. Then we'll come back to this, get this online, and then we'll call it a day. But yeah, so thanks everyone who stopped by. And very soon, as in within like 12 hours. I mean, you can already play the game if you have the Z compiler and you go to this and download it. But otherwise, like a downloadable Windows version will be available within 12 hours on my itch.io. But yeah, until then, thanks for just dropping by. Bye.